It's the Sound Alchemist here with
Gersh1.
and today I want to welcome you guys in another episode of, I'm not going to say it because I messed up the intro, for the greater.
This is a video series where we answer the questions left by you, the viewer. If you have a question for us, comment down below. Put a question in front of your question because we get those questions first. Yeah, something fell off in the beginning of the thing.
I was thinking, I don't know if you've seen the video, but it's like, who wants to go to the Four Seasons? And then that baby goes, I do.
Yeah.
He doesn't say I do, but he says me.
Yeah, I've seen like the ones where they dub somebody else's voice, and yeah, it's kind of like Mother, I want to. You know? Yeah. So this is a video. I already did all that. Subscribe to the channel. Did I already say that?
No, we answer your questions.
This question comes from Trotton. Could a faction learn to use the warp for time travel? Not by accident, but actually learn to use it intentionally. Maybe a Xenos using blue telephone box. Oh, just like Doctor Who.
Yes, sir.
Time travel is interesting in 40K in that it doesn't seem like any faction knows how to control it. It happens a lot. The orcs famously went into the warp and then came out 2 seconds before they went in, and then those two WAAAGHs fought each other because the warlord wanted a copy of his favorite gun, shooter.
Yeah.
Lysander was also stuck in the warp and time traveled weird. So I think he should be from the 32nd millennium, but he's in the 41st, something like that.
Yeah, even with like the ancient races that have kind of like conquered technology, the Necrons, there are chronomancers, which specifically focus on like time manipulation and stuff like that. And even they sometimes can't get it right. Yeah. There's an instance where like he's fighting a war. There's like a chronomancer fighting a war, and no matter what he does, he can't get the appropriate like consequences in motion to have his end goal happen. And it's like he's been doing this for thousands of times and it just won't happen. So does that mean that like time always has a linear motion to it and it can't be changed from the past? It's like wishy-washy.
Well, it's almost like Harry Potter. In Harry Potter, when they mess with time travel, everything has a place. Like everybody, or like you think that Harry can go back in time to meet his dad, but no, it was just Harry. Spoiler alert. For I forget what movie that is. Yeah, everything is linear. Another thing that I wanted to add is that it seems like every single faction that tries to control time ends up somehow mysteriously like vanishing or dying, because the Ordo Cronus is another faction within the Inquisition. It's an Order Minoris that started to try to understand how to manipulate time, maybe possibly going back to the Horus Heresy and saving the Emperor. Nobody knows what happened to that order, and it's a mystery. They got lost in the warp, probably went back in time and can't come back.
Yeah, it's like almost like a taboo, even worse than like warp and stuff like that. Because obviously the warp, you can go into the warp and come out before you went in or after thousands of years. And like there's no real way to kind of make logical sense of it.
Yeah. Now there is one faction in 40K that manipulates time, not the way that we would expect, where they can go back in time, but actually uses it as a weapon, and that is the Slot?
The Hrud.
Hrud, there you go, the Hrud. It's a Xenos race, and when the Imperium has fought them, Space Marines have even gotten old and died.
Yeah, aged to the point where, like, if they move, their bones turn to dust and stuff like that.
And that's one cool thing that I like about 40K and, like, the sandboxy world. There are Xenos that are just as powerful as the Tyranids even, but they still don't conquer. So, like, conquering the galaxy is not always like the focal point for every Xenos race. The Hrud are an excellent example of that. Good question. Next one.
This one's by World77777. Other than the Tyranids, is there any rumor, hint, whisper of anything about races outside of the galaxy of 40K?
Yeah, the big one is the old ones. So the old ones were the original psychically powerful race. They influenced the warp when the warp was not as tumultuous as it is now. Chaos gods have always existed, but they weren't as predatory back when the old ones were around. And the famous thing about the old ones is that they fought against the Necron. Well, I guess the Necrontyrs fought against the old ones.
Right.
In what is called the War in Heaven. And because of that, the old ones created the psychically powerful warrior races like the Orcs, called the Krork back then, and the Eldar and all that kind of stuff. But then an enslaver plague happened, so all these like nasty little warp parasites popped out of Psykers' heads and started destroying the galaxy. So the old ones decided to get up out of the galaxy, so completely left. The old ones are still outside of the galaxy.
Right, so they could return at some point in time, but I don't really see them coming back. Like, what would they bring to the, timeline?
My theory about the old ones is that they are actually the ones that created the Tyranids. Either by accident or intentionally, but very like Prometheus-like thing.
I could definitely see that happening, considering that they were at their height of power when the warp was tranquil. And obviously, if you kill everything that has biomass, there won't be enough souls or there won't be enough belief to power the Chaos Gods, and they could come back and rule the galaxy again.
Which is a tech or a, I guess, strategy that has already been talked about by is it called the Conclave, the Illuminati?
The Cabal.
The Cabal. The Cabal wanted to do that during the Horus Heresy. They wanted Horus to win so that then a civil war would break out and all of humanity would basically kill out the psychically powerful races because of the civil war. And then that would weaken the Chaos Gods. So by creating the Tyranids, sending them over here to completely wipe the galaxy clean and create a blank slate, the old ones can come back and manipulate the warp in the way that they want to, or at least weaken the Chaos Gods to the point where like the old ones can come in and screw them up. Also, the old ones might be the Eldari gods.
True.
Very convoluted.
Yeah, either way, it's cool to bring back like toad-like frogs into 40K.
Yeah.
Because that's so different than like what you would expect to see in a 40K game nowadays.
Yeah. Next question.
Crash R1. Are you guys surprised by the lack of Bridget B questions on this new channel?
No, we haven't talked about Bridget B in a while. You know who my latest crush is? Not in pornographic videos or anything, but the chick from not Last of Us. From,
Fallout?
No, not that one either. She's pretty too, but she looks kind of weird though. She looks like an alien.
I could see it, yeah.
Even just like the actress, not even the Fallout game, but the What We Do in the Shadows. It's a chick, and she's from the UK, I think.
The vampire?
The vampire chick.
Yeah. I know who you're talking about.
She's hot. So.
And the vampireness just adds to it.
Yeah.
Another reason why probably we don't have questions on her is because I think she retired.
Bridget B didn't retire.
Really?
No, yeah, I follow her on Instagram.
Oh.
And she's still around. I don't know if she's making like as many videos or movies, but she's still making appearances and stuff.
The
for $300.
Yeah. He doesn't know exactly how much that comes out to with taxes and all that.
Yeah. Next question comes from the big one. Do you guys like to paint minis? Do you guys like to paint minis listening to the smooth adult contemporary musical stylings of Mr. James Taylor?
I don't think I know James Taylor.
What do you like to listen to when you paint?
I paint very rarely, but when I do, I have like noise canceling earphones, so I can just listen to my tears as they fall because I hate how the mini's coming out.
Oh, you should check out Speed Paints. They're the best thing. Well, we're not sponsored, but I listen to Bridget B while I paint.
Yeah. Usually there's more noises than just Bridget B, but that's what you focus on, right?
Yeah, and I don't paint for long. My hands usually are occupied doing other
he's painting with his mouth. He's just like...
Next question.
Dun, dun. We already did that one.
I have one from Austin Palmer. How many orcs does it take to screw in a light bulb?
I think that was a thing, wasn't it? Because there was an answer to that. I know I've heard that question before.
Well, the true answer to that, coming from a lore guy, is that it doesn't take any orcs to screw in a light bulb because Gretchen are the ones that are the heavy lifters. So they're the ones running around in an orc camp doing the grunt work, basically. Mm-hmm. Grots do the same thing. So how many orcs does it take? 0, because that's why we got Gretchen.
And Gretchen are still orcs, but they're kind of not orcs, right?
Yeah.
So 1.
Orcoids, I guess.
1 parentheses 0. 0 parentheses 1.
Yeah. Next question comes from Clovis Longworm. If you could ship any 2 characters in 40K, which would they be and why?
So there's a lot of ships in 40K, surprisingly. You've got Gilliman and Yvraine. I think that's probably like the most well-known ship. You've got one of the Custodes and like a Tau.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
That was from the whole text-to-speech device.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But let me see, I'm trying to think. What good can we get from 2 characters like
Smashing. Well, I think that a Romeo and Juliet style story with the orcs and the Tyranids could happen because is it the Octarian sector, Octavius?
Octarian, Octarius, it changes.
They're fighting each other, so opposite sides attract.
Mm-hmm.
You can have a bestial creature fall in love with a bestial orc. So these 2 creatures find intimacy not through what we would consider intimacy, sex and whatnot, but through violence and goriness.
Yeah, I think that would work, especially if they kiss at the end and one of them drinks a potion that like is supposed to kill him. So I could definitely see it working.
Definitely. What were we gonna say?
I was gonna say I don't see anybody getting mad at love in 40K, especially between those 2 factions.
Right, yeah. Also, I think it would be really awesome to have, since everybody wants to talk about wokeness, a lesbian ship with 2 Sisters of Battle, 1 traitor dedicated to the Chaos God of Pleasure, Slanesh, and then the other one dedicated to our holy savior, the Emperor of Mankind. I would watch that porn.
With Bridget B starring, of course.
Yeah. And then last question, do you have one?
This one is by Winter's Wrath. Would you guys fight an Ultramarine 1v1 if he only had 1 arm and no armor on? You can pick any melee weapon and gun that can be held with 2 hands. If you win, you get $1 billion, and you're fighting in a gladiatorial arena.
Yeah, I would do it.
The odds definitely seem in our favor. But
because he is saying you could choose the weapon.
He's saying you could choose the weapon. But let's say if I say I choose a heavy bolter, I fire that thing once, my shoulder is getting dislocated.
That's why you would choose the Jakiro weaponsmith.
Oh, the digital weapons?
Yeah. If it's not going to kill an orangutan, it's not going to kill you.
But here's the thing. They know how to make it so that it'll work for them and it can like blow up on you. So it's like you have to befriend the Jakiro. But you've seen, Planet of the Apes. So
the whole series.
You're good.
I know that the most important thing to an orangutan is sleep.
So you gotta like nestle him to sleep.
Yep. And then he'd give me a ring.
Nice.
Also, the Jakiros aren't orangutans. So
no, they're just an alien species that resembles an orangutan.
Right, which happens a lot.
Yeah.
We're an alien species that resembles humans, so we're actually not human. We would win. Now, would you fight an ultramarine like that?
Yeah, I think so. Especially if they give me time to actually pick my arsenal. I think I could take it.
Yeah. That doesn't... And also, like, technically, couldn't you go through the indoctrination process and become a space marine? I mean, we're old, but if Luther was able to go through it...
yeah. Then, if it's a named space marine, no, I'm not taking that chance.
Yeah, but a regular, schmegular ultramarine?
Yeah. Like if I say, hey, ultramarine, what's your name? If he goes like this, I got it in the bag.
Yeah. And those were the questions for today. If you guys have more questions for us, please comment down below. Thank you guys so much for hanging out, and we'll talk tomorrow.
That's right. As always, it's been the Sound Alchemist here with
Gershwin.
And we are out of here.